All right, guys, how you doing?
Doing fine.
Old cows. All right, so got some new folks in the group. How'd y'all find us?
I was the one with the kids.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're
Yeah.
free, so now.
Yeah. Then you brought somebody, brought a friend, huh?
My wife.
Your wife, okay. But you're not friends. I get it. I've been married twice. I know. No, okay. So yeah, what the heck are we gonna do? I don't know. We had some interesting conversation a while ago about comedians, right? The life of comedians, and that brought up some things in me about turning tragedy into comedy or making the best out of a rough situation. You know, in my life, I'm always watching how other people handle their problems because I feel like I'm always doing a reality check because is my life normal? Does other people, are they struggling too? How do they respond to setbacks? And I learn a lot from watching my kids, my nieces, people in my life that are close to me, you know. And so I think comedians, they take tragedy, right, and they turn it into comedy. And I think Buddhism has a way of doing that too. They talk about integrating everything into your practice. Good times, bad times, hard times, you just bring it all into your practice. And they even talk about the peacock. They say a peacock, and whether this is true or not, and it's probably not true, but they say the reason a peacock has such beautiful plumes is because it eats poison. It eats things that other birds can't eat, but it transforms these poisonous berries and things into this beautiful plumage, right? Like I say, scientifically that's probably not true, but it's a Tibetan saying, right? Yeah, so the teaching is that the peacock changes poison into an elixir or something magical to make these colors, you know. So in Buddhism, the teaching would be that whatever you're struggling with, make that your medicine. Turn that poison into medicine and grow from it, learn from it, you know, move on. One of the things that I was thinking about out there was like my daughter Madison. She's very athletic. She plays, you know, all these different kind of sports. I really didn't pay much attention to it when she was younger, but then when she started playing like high school basketball, when she lost her first game, I got home before her and I thought she was going to come home crying and upset, and I was like, oh my God, you know. And, you know, I'm trying to get some comfort food out and get ready for her, you know, come home depressed. And then when she came home, she was kind of like laughing and joking and stuff, you know. And I was like, to me, in my mind, like when you lose, you should be pissed off. You should get in bed and throw the covers over your head. You should get upset. But from years of playing sports and all these different coaches, they've taught her, yes, we lost. Yes, we'll have to watch the film and do better. And I might make y'all run bleachers on Monday or whatever. There's consequences to losing or whatever, probably in sports. But she kind of shrugged it off. Like in sports, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You can't let it ruin your life or whatever. And so that was a good teaching for me because I'm not an athlete, just to figure out that, oh, these people that play these sports, they realize they're going to lose sometimes. So I can integrate that into my life. I'm going to have good days. I'm going to have bad days. I'm going to win. I'm going to lose. And I'm going to have to just accept it and bring it into my practice and learn from it, right? So as usual, I say a lot of weird stuff in the beginning and then we talk about it. So I'm going to throw that out there to anybody that has anything on that subject.
I've always seen comedians, like those are my favorite people, but those are the ones that suffer the most, and the more they suffered in their childhood, it seems the more funny and successful, funny and successful they are. I mean, like, yeah, Rodney Dangerfield. His childhood was awful, but
Terrible
he's like one of the
childhood,
most
yeah.
revered. Rodney Dangerfield. His childhood was awful, but he's like one of the most revered comics that's in recent time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely learn from comedians. Like they definitely just like laugh about all the
you want to make a little bit of progress, you want to go somewhere, and people are always backtracking, and it turns into this huge absurd thing, and people are just, it's just ridiculous. Like, you have to be there to see some of the crazy shit that people do, like, in this group. And like at some point, like I remember at some points I'm like, like this is frustrating. Like, why can't we just move on? But then I just kind of like take a step back and look at the absurdity of the entire situation. Lisa knows. Lisa's in one of those groups, and it's just like, it's just the chaos and the everything that's going on. The absurdity is what's actually memorable and enjoyable about it. So there's no real reason to get frustrated.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to what you had said about falling or having good days and bad days. Something that I had talked to a friend of mine about this past week was when you fall, it's really important to get back up. I'm a huge Dr. Phil watcher. Any of you Dr. Phil watchers?
Yep.
And he was talking this week, or I don't know, he was talking one of his weeks. I watch it on YouTube, so it's kind of sporadic, but and he was talking about a book that he wrote called 2020. And it's a lot about, I'm pretty sure it's about weight loss. It could be about other things, but it's about weight loss and how when you're losing weight, it's so important to know that when you step back and you make a mistake, to not see it as a failure, but an opportunity to keep going. I see a lot of that in myself, where when I fall back, I go, well, I messed up and I can't keep going. Or I look at other people that have done all these things, and I say, well, that's for them. I'm not good enough to get to that point. I feel like that's important in everybody's life, in general, not just in this room, but in general, to know that we are all capable of getting to that point in our life where we can do the things that we're meant to do in our life. So.
Absolutely.
Charlie. Wow.
Absolutely.
So at my work, I have a classroom full of 1-year-olds, and half of them just started school ever. So can you imagine, like, there's like 6 children crying all day, the whole time, because they're super, super scared. And so on top of that, we have allergies, so we had to put a whole gate to sanction off one half of the room so they can't come to that side. So anyway, like, they'll be crying, and I'll just look at the other teacher that I work with, and we'll just smile and just like giggle a little bit, like, damn, this is really our life. And so yesterday, I didn't really think about it, but now this conversation sparked it. She came up to me when she was about to leave, because she leaves 2 hours before me, and she goes, we really did it, Charlie, we really did this, and started laughing and high-fived me, and I was like, we did it, because, it's Friday, we got through that week, and I was thinking, like, you know what, like, I was frustrated, because, like, when children are crying, like, I cannot think, you know what I mean? Like, there's, like, I'm holding 2 kids that are crying, and I'm just, like, I can't even, like, what am I even gonna eat for dinner? I don't know. So like, this made me think, like, I need to be that person that high-fives the other person. It's like, we did this, and, make them smile. Like, instead of being that frustrated person, like, 2 hours and 3 minutes until I go home, Like, we need to be those people that are sparking joy and frustration in bad times.
Absolutely. Thank you, Charlie. We need to bring Dr. Phil here and invite him to Woke House. You can't eat the cabbage if you don't have your overalls. That's what my granddaddy used to say. And you're like, what the hell does that even mean? Yo, Shayla and Jeremy, you're so quiet. Like, I think y'all are already, like, enlightened or something. y'all are just sitting there watching the kids play.
I just like to observe.
No observing here.
Yeah, we have to participate.
This is a participatory event.
Oh, you're gonna get a 0.
Yeah.
That's me.
You're right.
That's me at Woke Up too. Sometimes I'm just like watching what happens.
I just like hearing what everyone else has to say.
All right. Well, does anybody have anything else to share? As long as you don't have a man bun, you can share. Man bun. All right, well then let's get to it then. Get this show on the road. If you are cold, I think I have one extra jacket. Hey, 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 hey,
We have a dance class after this.
Zumba and Pilates. And
Thank you.
refuge in the three jewels. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Dwelling in the refuge of Buddha, I clearly see the light and beauty in the world. Dwelling in the refuge of Dharma, I learn to open many doors on the path of transformation. Dwelling in the refuge of Sangha, shining light that supports me, keeping my practice free from obstruction. Taking refuge in the Buddha and myself, I aspire to help all people recognize their own awakened nature, realizing the mind of love. Taking refuge in the Dharma and myself, I aspire to help all people fully master the ways of practice and walk together on the path of liberation. Taking refuge in the Sangha and myself, I aspire to help all people build fourfold communities to embrace all beings and support their transformation. How can you have your cabbage? All right, we got shrine attendants, right? So then we'll bow 3 times. Somebody got the flowers and stuff? What's up, guys? She's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. You can't make me. I'm already woke. All right. Offering of flowers. This spread of flowers, fresh, hued, and fragrant, I offer at the sacred lotus feet of the noble sage, with flowers in great variety, the Buddha I adore, and by this merit might gain release. Even as these flowers must fade, my body too will pass away. Offering of light. With lights brightly shining, dispelling the gloom, I honor the fully awakened, that light of the triple world who dispels the gloom of ignorance. Amen. Offering of incense, perfumed with infinite qualities, the Tathagata, fragrant of face and form, I revere with incense, sweet and penetrating. That's hemp, guys. With a little THC. Offering of water. We offer water, symbol of purity, to the Buddhas of all times. May the water both wash away the obscurations of ignorance and sate the thirst of craving and aversion. Yay! Notes on mindful breathing. Anapadasati is mindfulness on respiration. Ana means inhalation. Anapada means exhalation. Concentration on the breathing process leads to one-pointedness of mind and ultimately to insight, which enables one to attain liberation, freedom, and perfection. The Buddha practiced concentration on respiration before he attained enlightenment, but this beneficial meditation may be practiced by any person irrespective of religious beliefs. We will inhale through the nostrils normally, without strain, without force. While doing so, the mind may wander, but one should not be discouraged. When a wandering thought is detected, label it as thinking and return to the breath. All right, so then we'll move into the formal meditation practice. And as we just read, simply setting, simply being with your mind. The Tibetan word for meditation means getting to know. So we're getting to know how our minds work. Just like Malcolm said, we were chit-chatting, and Malcolm said, that's how my mind is when I'm trying to meditate, right? So that's all of us. Well, what the key is to check that, to be aware of it and say, you know what, I'm not going to let my mind run wild. I'm going to bring it back to my breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Some people focus on the tip of their nose and they feel the air going in, and it just gives them something to focus on. And how long can you hold your attention on the tip of your nose before suddenly you're thinking about going off and some trip and somebody you met in the past and something in your childhood, and you're like, oh, I'm thinking again. I got to come back to my breath. Okay, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Oh, what was that sound? Did somebody just walk in here? What's going on? Oh, I love the smell of this incense. Oh, wait a minute, I'm thinking again. Coming back to my breath. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. All right, guys. So we'll probably just set for 3 or 4 hours this time. Next time we'll go longer, okay? And please don't get up and go to the restroom or anything. Don't move. No, just kidding. Now we'll do 15 minutes.